Hi, my name is Tracy Cornelius and I'd like to welcome you to Homemade, Grown and Sewn. In this particular video, I'm going to be showing you one of the kits that I've got and how we're going to put everything together. Okay, so the quilt kit that I've bought is from Pelenna patchworks.co.uk, and I bought the chicken coop one, which I just thought was a really cute design, and yeah, it looks fairly easy for a beginner, and I'm quite looking forward to doing the applique parts as well, because I'm quite interested in finding out how to do that. And because I spent over £25, I also got this wonderful little charm pack free as well, which is fantastic, especially for somebody like me who is a beginner, because now I've got a number of different fabric patterns to be able to use in some of my projects. So the first thing that you want to do when you get a kit is to read through the instructions first of all. And obviously you're going to need to remove the patterned sections as well. So once you've removed your template sheet from the little booklet, you'll notice that there are a number of different templates for you for your particular project. Now there are a number of different ways that you could actually use this. You could either use tracing paper and transfer the design onto the tracing paper and then use a transfer pencil to transfer it onto your fabric. Or you could do what I'm going to do, which is to then cut around each of these sections, and then I'm going to pin them onto the fabric and use that as my actual guide. So in a second I'm going to go ahead and do that. The next thing you're also going to need to do is to make sure that you've got everything you need in your kit, but then you're also going to need to make sure that you cut the little pieces of fabric to size before you really begin doing anything else. So in your instruction manual you will have instructions on what size to cut all of your different pieces out to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut up the pieces of fabric to size, and I'm also going to cut out my little applique templates and then come back to you. So here you can see that I've cut out all the pieces that I need for this particular kit, including all the little applique pieces as well. So I just wanted to show you what I've done. I've made sure that I've cut out the larger design, because you're obviously going to need to make sure that you've got good placement. But then what I've also done is I've stuck an envelope on the back of it, and that's where all of the template pieces are going to be kept. So it just means that I know that I'm always going to find these pieces and they're not going to get lost. So that's my little kind of reference for later on. Like I said, I've cut out all the different pieces ready as well. And I just wanted to show you another piece to go on the actual machine in itself. I found that you can obviously get accessories, and so what I wanted to do was I wanted to have one that would give me the perfect 1/4 inch seam. So that's what I've got here. So it's a new foot. This one is actually O for the machine for the Pelenna 2800, and it means that I can just pop it up to this guide and I know that I'm going to get a perfect 1/4 inch seam every single time, which is great. So now we're going to put some of our pieces together ready to start sewing. So this is how our first piece is going to go together. Now just before I explain how I'm going to sew it, I did want to say that before I cut out all the pieces and measured them up, I did actually iron every single piece as well, because obviously in the kit everything gets folded, so if you're not ironing it you're not really getting a true measurement. So a little bit of housework to do before you begin. So before we begin stitching, I just wanted to show you that I've folded the fabric over ready for us to start stitching, but I just wanted to show you a close-up so you could see that the material is now resting right against our 1/4 inch foot. So perfect. Now the thing that you can actually do is, if you can see, there is a tiny little hole here, and that is the guide for the needle. Now I'm kind of doing this one-handed, so excuse my camera action. But if you move down the flywheel you can see that it goes perfectly into the hole. If you find that on your machine, or if you do have the Pelenna 2800 and you find that the needle is actually going either side, then if you just adjust the width then the needle will move. So if I adjust the width now, you can see that the needle is moving across, so you can perfectly position it for the foot that you're actually using. So I'm going to start off with a running stitch. If you wanted to, you could pin this material together to make sure that it stays in line. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to see how we kind of get on. I'm going to start off slowly and making sure that I back stitch as well. Just need to move that thread behind. Okay, so we've now stitched that together, and that is perfect. So I might have been slower than some, but I'm really quite pleased with that for the first try. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one as well. So this is our first section done. I'm really pleased with it so far. You need to press the seams to the inner section, so I've gone ahead and done that as well. And then we just need to sew on the next rectangle. So that's going to be sitting like that. So again, you want to make sure that you fold it over, line up the edges perfectly, and now I'm just going to go ahead and sew that one as well. So I just wanted to give you a bit of feedback on my thoughts of it so far. I have to say that the sewing part of it has actually been really quite easy, which is a pleasant surprise because I was a little bit nervous about it to begin with. The 1/4 inch foot definitely, I would say, is a worthwhile purchase. I don't think I'd be able to do it quite as well without it, shall we say, but it's looking really perfect. I mean, it's perfectly straight. Like I said, really, really easy. The most time-consuming thing was definitely the cutting out, making sure that you had that perfect to begin with, and I think that's probably the most important part. And also I think it is important to take your time to be able to do that, and the same with the applique parts as well, is taking your time to be able to trace out the designs, or, you know, pin them and cut round them. But I have said, or I do think that it's quite similar to paper crafts, as in it's much easier to move the fabric around instead of the scissors. You get a much cleaner cut that way. We taught the same kind of thing in paper crafts. You have to move the paper instead of moving the scissors. So yeah, I think that there are a number of different similarities, and at the moment I'm not only am I thoroughly enjoying it, but I'm also trying to work out what it was that I was so scared of in the first place, because it really actually isn't that difficult. But I'm going to continue sewing all the different bits together, and yeah, then come back to you and give you my verdict.